Okay, hello everyone. So today we are going to learn about narrative text. So what is narrative text? But before, we are going to know about our learning objective in this narrative text. So we have to learning objective. First is reading skills. Students are able to analyze and understand the structure and meaning of the narrative text they read. And then the writing skills is students are able to write narrative text with a clear storyline and appropriate use of language. Okay, the definition will be explained by Miss Lovita.
Okay, the definition from the narrative text is a type of text that tells a chronological story in the past tense. Narrative text tells about imaginative stories or modified real stories. So the purpose of narrative text to entertain the readers through further amusing story. So there are the kinds of narrative text. The first one is fairy tales, mysteries, science fiction, romance, horror, fables, adventure, and then the genre like folklore encompasses myths, folktales, and legends. Next.
And then we talk about the structure of a narrative text. There are four structure of narrative text. The first is orientation, complication, resolution, and reorientation. Let's talk a bit about orientation. It's the opening part of a narrative text. This section introduces the characters in the story and the background of the story, which includes the place, times, atmosphere, and social condition. And then complication. This section contains problems that occur in the story. In more detail, complications are divided into three parts, namely escalating action, climax, decreasing action. The first is the escalating action when the problem starts to emerge, and then when the climax of the problem. And then the last is when the tension of the problem begins to decrease and begins to find a resolution point. And the third is resolution. This section contains the completion or end of a narrative text story. A story can close with a happy ending, a sad ending, or a cliffhanger. Next is reorientation. The final part of the narrative text structure usually contains a conclusion, a moral message or moral value, or a change in the characters at the end of the story. This reorientation is optional because it does not always have to be present in a narrative text. A narrative text have four language features. The first is simple past tense, and then adverb of time, and then adjective, and the last but not least is a noun phrase.
Okay, so then we're going to learn about how to write a narrative text. Okay, so Miss Samantha, time is yours.
Alright, so we need to know the elements. There are three elements of a narrative. The first is character. Character is the people, animals, or creatures who take part in the story. The second is setting. Setting is where and when the story takes place. And the third is plot. Plot is the series of events that make up the story, including the problems and resolutions.
Okay, so to learn about tips for writing a great narrative. So first is the introduction. So the opening is your chance to capture the reader's attention and make them want to read more. So take your time, be creative, and craft an opening that sets the stage for the story you want to tell. So the step for introduction is ask a thought-provoking question that piques the reader's curiosity. Use a bold statement. Use humor or wit to make the reader laugh or smile. And then use sensory language to paint a vivid picture in the reader's mind. And then we have characters. Develop your characters to create an image for your reader. The goal is to create characters that your readers will care about and remember long after they finish reading your story. So use vivid descriptions such as visualize your characters, including their physical appearance, clothing, and surroundings. And then show, don't tell. Rather than telling your readers about your characters' personalities, show them through their actions, thoughts, and dialogue. And then the third is create conflicts and obstacles. By creating conflicts and obstacles for your characters to overcome, you can help your readers to become invested in their journeys and root for them to succeed. Well, we have also setting. The setting and atmosphere are key elements that can truly bring your narrative to life. Use descriptive language to paint a vivid picture of the setting and atmosphere for your story. So use sensory details to engage the reader's senses. For example, describe the sounds, smells, and textures of the setting. And then use descriptive language to create a mood or atmosphere. And then use vivid imagery to create a mental picture of the setting. And then the last but not the least of the setting is use figurative language such as metaphors and similes. Plot. When creating a plot, it's important to keep things simple yet engaging. Make sure to keep clear conflict and resolution. So first we need to start with clear conflict. Every good story needs a problem to be solved. Think of something that will resonate with your target audience, whether it's lost toy, a missing pet, or a schoolyard bully. Second is make it relatable. Readers are more likely to stay engaged if they can relate to the characters and situation in the story. And then third is build tension. Once you establish this conflict, build tension by creating obstacles for the characters to overcome. And then is to provide a clear resolution. Make sure the story has a satisfying resolution that ties up all loose ends. And then the last but not the least is editing and revising. This is important because to make your story engaging by using descriptive words, sensory details, dialogue, and action verbs. Read your story aloud to catch mistakes and improve flow. Remember, a narrative is a story that has a beginning, middle, and end. Use descriptive language, characters, and a plot to engage readers. Well, I think that's all about the narrative and how to write a narrative. Thank you so much for learning with us today, and see you later.